Prepping. It's going.
This meeting is being live streamed. Woo!
Are you
Wait!
alive? Staying alive?
We're
Staying
alive.
alive? I gotta change this. It's going. Yeah, we're up.
Oh my gosh. Scott and I have just been having a
How
heated
do I
discussion.
boom, pause that.
Uh-oh. Are
We're
we
up
on
now.
pause? Oh, we're up
Yeah,
now?
we're up. I gotta
What?
change the screen.
We're changing the screen. Man, this is just, I'm glad. Scott is our technical guy. I have never done anything of the tech. He's actually, Scott is a multi faceted person. He can run a big, company. He can do everything. And so today we're talking about some of the other things that go in, but we're going to talk a little bit about ethics. I had an event where I put people out. I'm an agent just like Scott, and I deal mostly with entertainers. Not that DJs aren't entertainers, but more like clowns, mimes, jugglers, unicycle, stilt walkers, face painters, ballooners, caricature artists, and stuff like that. Um, and I do hire a few DJs, not as not like he does. But anyway, so we're at this. I get a stilt walker out for a person. And I've worked with this person probably 5 or 10 years now, and he tries my entertainer. I don't own these entertainers, but when they go through a gig with me, that gig is mine. So if I get them out at an event, it's my event, so they can't pass out their cards, and that's just ethics within the society of pretty much most anybody going through a agent, which I am an agent. I own a company called All Occasion Performers, and I put out people. And when they go through a gig with me, then I get that gig back, and they got first right of refusal getting it back. So the next year, I will call them and say, "Do you want this event again?" If they say no, they kind of lose it if somebody else steps up and wants the event if they do a good job. Now, if unless the client says, "Can we get the other person back?" And then the client is the boss pretty much. So if they want the same person who was there 2 years ago but couldn't make it last year, I'll put them back in. But usually, if you do a good job, you get the job back. Anyway, this guy comes up and I put a stilt walker. I've been working with this guy 10 years, and he tries to get her card. And in my belief, that's unethical. Not that he should go to a bad place or like that, unethical. It just puts us puts a thing up to say I can't trust the guy. That is not ethical. He wouldn't want that to happen to his entertainers, that they go and do that to him. So why was he doing it to me? Now, Scott said, "Did you confront him?" And I said, "No, I didn't, but at least I have the information." Uh, because I've worked with him 10 years, there's no really rocking the boat. All I need to do is tell my entertainers, because the people I work with would not put their card out at my event. And the Stiltwalker came up and said he was trying to get my card, my personal card. And it was like, okay, well, then I have that information. I could have gone and just stuck my head in his face and said, "Oh, you piece of poo for doing that." But I didn't. And sometimes
Well,
I would
you
because,
could have brought it to their attention and say, well, just as a friendly reminder, this is how things operate.
yeah, that would have probably have been a good idea. But the guy knows how things operate. He runs a
Um, it's to let him know, hey, stop doing that. You wouldn't say, I heard this. You would go up and say, well, I know it's been a while since we, talked, and maybe a refresh course, but here's how we operate. I know you've been around forever. Just wanted to kind of go over these things again, and you don't have to bring up anything at all. You're a hypnotist. You know how to talk to somebody's subconscious, right? How would you do it?
he'd blame on somebody else.
Oh, you could tell a
I
side
would
story.
say,
Yeah, sure, like a metaphor.
do a story. Yeah, do a metaphor. I can't
There's
believe
another way. Yeah, sure.
it. So, well, anyway, I didn't handle the situation exactly way, but and it worked out. Now, in other circumstances, if I didn't care, I would go straight to him and it said, you know, uh, if I hadn't done this, worked with him 10 years in a row,
Well, confronting people is just going to put people on the defense, right?
right,
They're going to put their fist. That's probably not the best way to go about it,
right,
especially if it's
especially
someone you want to continue
also,
working with.
right, and also it's kind of a boss who's kind of messed you over, but still you want the gig.
Yeah, you just don't want that silliness to happen, keep happening. And if you don't bring it to light, they'll see that there's nothing wrong with it, or they can keep getting away with it.
Well, every time they try it, I only use people who I know won't. I wouldn't send him out anybody who didn't have ethics.
Well, me
I
personally,
wouldn't.
I'd put my flag. I
Again,
would
I
put
would.
my flag down on the ground and say this is kind of what it is, but I wouldn't be that forceful. I would definitely bring that to their attention so that the behavior doesn't continue.
Okay, I agree with both of us here. I'm not. I'm going the round that don't want to really confront it because it probably wouldn't do me any good on
Oh
this
yeah,
one
and
because
for the
they already
listeners,
they already know. Yeah, so what you got to do is figure out right here which way you want to go and do what's right for you. At this point,
and it doesn't
my
have to be
way,
confrontational either. Like there's
right.
ways to talk to people without directly pointing your finger.
Well, again, you can
It's
use the
called
third,
indirect suggestion.
yeah, and yeah, you could use the third party. Basically, man, I wouldn't. I don't know. Golly, did you hear about that other guy? They he was trying to get this other guy's card, and how unethical that is. Man, I
Yeah, I heard
wouldn't
about this
want to
other
really work with
company,
that.
through the grapevine, and just wanted to let you know that words were buzzing around about this other company, and they were doing some things that were pretty unethical. So I'm so glad that we have our agreement together, you know, because I
That's
wouldn't
a
want that.
that would be more of the better way to do it, I think. And I just didn't do either one. I just
Well,
let
you
it
don't
go.
have to do anything you don't want to. Again, back to your identity. If it's something that you don't, if you're not at threshold, which again, threshold changes that happen. I'm the one that makes a change, and change happens now. If you're not there, then there's no reason. Yet, if it's not like for someone like me, as a friend, as a coach, to be like, hey, look, this could continue if you don't stop it now, because he won't say anything wrong with it, and at least bring it to their suggestion.
Well, I know he sees something wrong with it. So I mean, I don't. I mean, that's just an unethical thing for him to do. I mean,
Do you
truthfully,
know
I know. Yeah,
maybe
I
the
know because
conversation would turn into something different? Oh, he misunderstood me. I was just seeing he was available. I was definitely going to go through you because that's something else he could say.
well, I know that wasn't the case.
Well, it doesn't have to be the case, and then it puts that guy's word against the other guy's word. Who are you going to trust? Who's been with you longer? And then it turns into that.
I'm going to trust my entertainer.
They're both in your entertainer because they were both on the same event.
No, that's the boss.
Oh, that was the client,
Client,
the end
client.
client. Oh, so the end client was trying to skip you. I thought it
Right.
was somebody else in the industry.
No. The
Oh,
end,
okay.
but they're in the industry too. They're an entertainer too, but
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Then
they're
I would
hiring
be
my
like,
entertainers.
I had something similar happen to me because, um, again, I have a guy who does New Year's Eve for this hotel, and he gets along with the hotel management, but it's through another talent agency because he's the one that holds the account at that hotel. And that person, the end client, right, was getting married, so he went to the proper chain of command, the talent agent that I work with, and then that guy decided he was going to try and skip me and go straight to the DJ, which didn't really work out too much in his favor because I've been working with the DJ for, I don't know, 20, 30 years or whatever, and it would not be beneficial for him to do paperwork that he doesn't do to begin with, right? Like I do all the paperwork in the office. He's like, well, if you want me there, you have to go through Scott because I'm not doing all this other follow up and answering questions and pulling the music. I just show up and do the event, right? So that kind of backfired. So I know that won't be happening again. But again, that still triggers something in my mind that things aren't happening the way they should, right? So every time I'm on the phone with this guy, because he calls me every once in a while to go over the details of this event, I make sure to slip in indirect suggestion um to let the other person know that I know what you're up to, but I don't have to say, "Oh, why did you do this?" or "How did you do that?" because they're going to squirm and come up with other things and then try and make you look silly because the information isn't clear as it is. But you can still say something like, well, I'm so glad working with you. We have this agreement, Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, whether he did whatever he did or not, or whatever he's going to bring to the floor, it doesn't matter because you said how things are, which if we go back to ethics and begin with, like, have you set out your goals? Like, have you set out what your protocol is? Do you have a company brand and a vision and how things are to be conducted? I have a service talent agreement that I go over with the staff. So if something later down the line happens, I'll be like, well, you agreed to these terms or you agreed to what's on this paper, and that's your word. I just took you by your word. It's not like so some people out there in the industry get a little weary over this thing called a non-compete because there's this narcissist prick that works here and he wants to throw around lawyer paperwork and all this kind of stuff, which really has no fucking ground because it's a right to work state. But you think you could pull somebody's, I get really worked up with narcissists. They think they could pull somebody's string and get them scared and not want to do anything. But I tell them, hey, look, let them try it. They're just throwing things out. In fact, if they go after you, that sends a sound to the rest of the clowns so that they don't, break outside whatever I think is appropriate, that kind of thing. So, especially with that company, that guy's, their DJs are afraid to take pictures with people that are outcasted because they may not get any work. And that is manipulation. And I don't stand for it. So, is this one of many things? What are your codes of conduct? Can you be yourself? Are you really free or just under somebody else's umbrella? Yet, if you have words written down in an agreement in the beginning, so you're on the right foot, and do realize things do change as you move forward. Things happen that you probably didn't know. Like I have a money guy, which I didn't realize every time you talk to the guy, it's like, oh, I got to do this now. Oh, I got to do that now. Oh, I started early. How about a tip? It's like, it's not even like he understands he's doing that. But every time I talk to him now, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you're so non-haggle. Like I love it when you just go in and do the extra work because you don't have to go in there and haggle everybody that you talk to or think that they owe you something or that you're going above and beyond just to do whatever's in the paperwork to begin with. And every time I talk to this person, I make sure to reiterate that. Oh, I like you so much because you never haggle after we've already made an agreement. I'll say that again and again and again until he understands.
It's tough out there. I had something I was going to say about the people I use. You know, I don't know everybody out there, but in my business here in Dallas has uh, I do not. I would fire a client before I'd fire an entertainer. The
Mm.
entertainers I'm using because once you lose an entertainer, you don't usually get them back. If they said to I will never work with you again, more than likely they know will never work with you again. So, especially the good entertainers, I don't want to mess over those because they'll be in the industry 20 to 30, 40 years. And my average client's only 10 to 20 years. And so I'm going to lose my client before I lose the entertainers, and I won't be able to use them again. And if you don't have any entertainers to use, you don't have anything to sell besides yourself, of course. Yet, so and the ones I use, I wouldn't use anybody without a referral ever through my company. If I don't have a referral, I don't use them. But most of the people I use, and I'm old, but have been in the industry 20 to 40 years or somewhere in there. And I do use
You
newbies.
don't even look that old.
Yeah, there you go. And thank you. So the newbies, what I call a newbie is 10 years in the business. That's a newbie, and you have to baby them a little before they become old bees. And when I call them old bees, then I call them no brainers. So I don't have to worry about them when they go out. But the first few years, a newbie doesn't know all the ethics of the thing. So they might, give out their card. But everybody, before I hire them, I give them a big lecture. I might want to switch over to what Scott does. He has everybody sign something. And
Well, thanks for reminding me. My new guy, I didn't go over this paper with him because we were at a very loud karaoke bar, and I'll probably just email it over.
and on my side, just say my side is I have never sent a contract to an entertainer for them to sign. Never. Okay. I have almost always, and a client always has to sign a contract if it's 2 hours or more. So almost for the last 20 years, and I've been in business 40. So, but they 80% of the time they always had to sign a contract that this is what it is. Because then with the contract, you say they gave you the wrong address and you didn't show up on time. You say, well, you gave me this address and we were there. So you want it covers all the mistakes that either one do. And then if you went to the wrong place and it was your fault, then you pay. We do pay or plays here. Basically, we don't show up, we pay you, and if we show up, you pay us. And you, it, I used to do a 50% cancellation fee in, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago. And then I switched it over because they canceled on me during, there was two gigs we could take. I had a whole team out. Uh, One festival or a festival. So the festival that we took, it got rained on and there was mud, and they canceled and they didn't give us anything. The other one would we could have done because it wasn't in mud. So I decided we only do rain or shines. So in your companies, just like Scott's company, in my company, you'll make up your rules, what are will become your ethics to say this is the right way, and then you'll give those and making all these rules. So again, we started out where a person kind of dinked on me, but it didn't affect me because my entertainers were loyal. And so what you want to get out of your entertainers, be loyal to loyalty, loyal to loyalty. So the people who work with me most, it's the most work because I trust them and I will they become a tier kind of thing. I might know 100 face painters, but I usually use the top 10. And I'll go down to 11 or 20 if I have to, as long as I know they'll show up and do a good job. But I'm going to use my top tier first, just because loyalty to loyalty, so they get the most business. I think I veered off. That's how I do because I'm a ADHD. And so
Squirrel.
well, yeah, but all those are good things to think about when you're running a company. How are you going to do it? What is your ethics? And to confront when you need to. If I didn't like the guy who's kind of screwing me, I would confront him because I would say I
Oh,
don't.
you like the guy?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good entertainer.
I thought
And
he was the owner.
no, he's hired my entertainers to entertain with him. So he's a fire guy. He's got a whole group. He runs a group, and but he doesn't have any stilt walkers. So
Okay.
and he's hired several years, and I just got to know that he's trying to take my entertainers, and I just sort of say to the entertainers, if you do that, then I won't work with you. And but anybody who would do it through my company if they put out their card, I wouldn't work with them again unless I had to death. So instead of being on top of 100 or 200 people, they would be below everybody at the very
Yeah.
bottom.
I find that to be cut. What do they say? Cut your nose off to spite your face or something like that. Like you have short vision. Like, oh, I'm gonna be unethical here, but don't realize the bigger picture of things.
Right.
And-
If there's a chance to do right, just do right. I mean, it's going to save your reputation in the future. And to get a few hundred extra dollars is nothing in a career. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars you're going to lose if you
so
keep doing that.
with that, on the marketing side, right? Like as being an entertainer for another company and then building my own company, um, into like put out your own card on an event that's not yours. It's kind of like, well, disrespecting all the work it took in order for the person to get that gig. And to me, it's like you're too lazy or uneducated to go build your own thing or do your own networking, that you want to pick the low hanging fruit. And if that's what you're going to be, then you probably don't belong on the team to begin with, let alone, being unethical and snagging, return clients from an event I put you on. You're just going to be lazy in general. So why would you want that on your team, despite being a backstabber?
Right,
You're
you wouldn't want that on your team. And the other thing, you wouldn't want to do that to somebody else. I've my company's worked through 84 other agencies, and I'm an agency too. So if I would just say I would put out my card on one of those, any of those 84 other entertainers event, then I could be blackballed from everybody.
well,
So
I,
it's not worth it. Even when at one point you'll get most of your own work if when you own your own company, but yet you still want not to, you want to be able to use everybody. Is that a bug
no,
or something?
no. Like if I had a magic wand, right?
Oh,
Right? If I had a magic wand, I
sure.
would love to wake up, I don't know, DJs in particular on this one topic. Just because you buy gear, you don't sell it by asking me to sell it for you. I mean, if you buy the gear, I learned this huge lesson that I went out and bought a photo booth and thought companies or clients would just come running to me because I had a photo booth. And I didn't realize to a year or so after I got it that I had to do my own hustle, my own grind, sell it myself. Just because you bought a fancy facade with a TV on it or that you have a bunch of uplights, sell it yourself. I have my own stuff too. Wouldn't I make more money selling it on my own than selling your stuff? And I get that conversation almost with everybody that I hire. Please stop.
Well,
Do the work.
yeah. Well, the other thought about that flick is that if you're an agent on the top and you just want to make a little bit extra thing, you
Yeah.
just,
I mean,
hey,
I do
then you're
send
a
people out with their own
no-brainer.
stuff, but it's not
Yeah.
like my responsibility to sell your stuff. Like, oh, I'm on the call with somebody. Let me think about your stuff before I think about mine. Like,
Well, of course you wouldn't.
and that's what is perceived with these conversations I have. And not just
Well,
one, not just one, many.
well, if I could do that, Scott, I would just say, here, I'll go buy all this equipment and you can just rent it from me when you want it.
Yeah.
And because that'd be a simple thing. All I'd do is stick it in a warehouse and say everything, I'm providing you guys the stuff. And if you destroy it, you have to replace it. And here it is. So that's what they're doing. And they don't understand that.
Oh
So,
yeah. Now
well, you
here's my
already have your own
inventory.
stuff.
Here's a whole Excel sheet of all the stuff I have. Sell it for me.
Well, at one point, that would be okay because you're going to get a commission off the top. But if it's taken away from your company, or your time that's worth more, then, or if there's not enough work. Now, let's just say you have it that there's so much work you can't do it all with your stuff, and they have some extra stuff, and everybody else is booked and they're not booked. It doesn't hurt to put them out and give them their rate and make money off top. I mean, but
Anyway,
well, the point would be, why wouldn't you put your stuff out first? That's the
well,
answer is you would
here
put your stuff out.
here's a question for you, or something I've kind of wrapped my mind around. And you tell me your thoughts.
Okay.
So I spend about $1,500 a month on advertising.
Okay.
And there was a conversation inside of the Facebook feed some time ago, and I said something like, "Well, yeah, I wouldn't refer out another company," and I didn't say why, right? Like I didn't say because I spend so much money that I just wouldn't hand off an event to another company. I did, and there was, of course, I think I put this maybe in a hypnotist group or something,
Mhm.
and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I refer out this other guy all the time." Like, why wouldn't you do that to create business relationships? And this is something I've been working with.
Well, there's the right answer is whatever's right for you, really, on that one, because there's no ethics involved. Basically, you can refer out people if you choose to. The
Well,
only
I refer out people that are
issue
aren't
with,
that aren't in the niche.
huh?
Like somebody wants to dance floor, I have somebody I refer out, like
Right,
something I don't have, like something that's not in my
right.
competitor, right? Or if I refer somebody out and they do a bad job,
That's exactly what I was going to say right there. I said, Because if you just to say you put somebody out, it's your reputation. I mean, a referral is your reputation. So if you don't trust that anyone at all, never refer anyone you can't 100%. If you can't 100% that you're going to do a job, you pretty much, it's sort of like when in hypnosis, if I tell you what you should, ought to, or must do, now you can come back and blame me. In the
Ugh.
same way, when you refer somebody, if it doesn't go well, they're going to come back, and even in their unconscious, they're going to say, I don't trust Scott. He gave me a bad referral.
Yeah.
So I would say it's very stupid unless you know the person or you make a thing and say, I know these guys do it, but I would say I don't know their reputation. If you want to do that, say, well, here's another company that does it, but I don't know how good they are or
Yeah,
anything.
I've even talked to some clients that say they if they have a bad experience with a vendor, I'm like, well, can you tell me who that is? So I make if it's not on my list, I'll take it off, like if it's on my list, you know.
Right. So that's why we go back. Your reputation is what you got. And then when you, every time you mess it up, it's just one little click. And the more you get, the harder it is to stay in business. Usually, and not that you can't stay in business and be a, I would call a prick because they're out there. They're out there. The people who don't have ethics and the people who you do
It's
stuff like,
very hard to find people that mean good or for other people that everybody means good for themselves, but it's like I've found it hard.
well, I disagree on my side with a lot of the big agents. There's a lot of good ones, and there are a lot of the other ones. So I would say maybe more of the bad than the good, but there are good ones are out there. I mean, I've worked with good agents all my career, and I work the best that I can be to be a good agent too. So, and I think I think all agents will make a mistake here or there,
You know
and
what the thing is? The ones that are good are probably just busy being good, and I don't get a chance to see it what they're doing.
well,
It's like
truthfully,
finding a good
what sticks
employee.
out is
Like the
negative.
ones that are worth something are out doing what it needs, like what it takes.
Remember the thing what gets your attention is the negative what happens, not and sometimes if we could look at all the good that's happening, we could focus some on that. But the bad just sticks out like a sore thumb so much that when you and it builds up after Scott and I were talking right before this, and he was mentioning even this week, there were four things that, clients or entertainers or whoever uh, kind of didn't know what they were doing, and he had to kind of babysit. And it is a headache sometimes to deal with people who don't know exactly what's going on. And they're out there everywhere. So I would say there's more of the people out there, and not necessarily they're working on doing being a bad person or a stupid person or something like that. It's just that they are. Not that they're stupid, they're just not educated on that thing. Go ahead.
Get your foot out of your mouth.
Well, see, but no, that it wasn't in my mouth because I wanted to refer that they're not stupid people. It's just that they haven't learned what it takes to do what the job is, and they
What are the
haven't.
four levels of learning?
Yeah, they don't know. They don't
Unconscious
know.
unconscious incompetence, which means you don't know what you don't know. And then now you have conscious incompetence, which is okay, well, am I going to learn this thing or should I practice on this thing? And then you have
You
um
have to decide you're wanting to learn it, and
yeah,
then
then we have conscious competence, which
no,
you,
it's
you have to think
conscious
about it.
incompetence, and then you have conscious, and then you have unconscious competence.
Conscious competence where it's just there.
Conscious
So
competence is you can tell when you didn't do it, and then unconscious you just do it automatically.
so basically you don't know something and then new information is brought to you and you're like, "Oh, I better learn this." Well, the next stage is like deciding to learn how to do it. The next one is like, oh, I can kind of do it, right? And then the last stage is, well, I don't even have to think about it and it's already done.
Yeah, it's well, you can. The metaphor is really just driving. The whole thing is
I've heard that metaphor so
measured
many
up.
times. Tell me
Huh?
again. I want to hear the metaphor driving.
Okay, first thing when you get in the car, you don't know shit. Seriously. And so the first thing, like a driver would say, adjust your mirror, adjust your seat, you get your car ready to go. And that's just the first step. Now, the first time you get in, you're probably thinking, do I push on the brake or gas, brake, gas, brake, gas? And sometimes you put both feet on there, and that's not good. So you start learning to use one foot instead of two, unless you have a clutch, and then you're using the clutch. Okay, but after a while, you do this, and first thing you think, oh my God, I got to right, left, right, and it later on, when you've learned it, it goes in there and it's like this, and okay, now it's easier, and it keeps on getting easier. And at one point, when it's unconscious competence, you don't even think about driving. You don't think about your foot. It just automatically happens. You're looking. And then that's when you go into highway hypnosis. You're thinking you got home and you didn't even know how you got there. You wasn't thinking about driving. You were daydreaming about what are you going to do tomorrow, and you didn't even see how you got home, but you're home. So, but basically, until you know what you got and you know it so well, that's when it's unconscious. Again, we're a lot of things are happening. You don't have to, if you've been driving 10 years, you don't have to worry about the brake and the gas. You're just automatically doing it, or turning on a blinker, or stopping at a stop sign, or knowing when you see green it's go, or yellow yield, and all these things. But at first you didn't know, and it just takes that. In the same way with ethics, if you don't know, and some people don't know ethics, they're thinking, well, I can just put up my cards because they asked for them. But at a gig, it's unethical to put out your cards at somebody else's gig if they hired you. And then, unless you've asked, can I put out my card? And they said yes. Now, and when you're a newbie, some people never told you. You just came out and you started being a clown. Nobody told you how to run your company. Nobody told any ethics. And someone said, can I hire you? An agent asked you, and they didn't give you the rules of because and because you're both assuming. You assume this clown that you just hired because you heard a lot about him, he's really good, that he would know the ethics. But this clown's never worked for anyone else but himself. He got his own work, and he just thinks everything's his own work. But now an agent calls him and said, can you do this event? And sometimes he doesn't even know it's an agent till you say, I own this agency and here are our rules. So if you're doing it beginning, or if you haven't done it for 10, 20 years, just think, every person you ever hire, you got to give them, his little contract that they sign and say, I understand, or you need to talk to them. And I talk to them like 30 minutes to an hour before I hire anybody, give them the rules and see before I hire them, I want to know if they're hot-headed or anything, or if they're mad at me within a few minutes when I said, hey, you can't pass out your cards at my gigs. You can pass them out anywhere else, but not at my events. And they need to know that. And I'd say you got to be 15 minutes early and 100% on the dot of the time. You have to be ready to do whatever you're supposed to do. If you're a character artist, you need to be able to draw somebody at that dot, and everybody's different. So a DJ might have to get there 3 hours early to be on time, but a character artist maybe 15 minutes early to be on time. As long as they're on time, I'm okay. And professionals who've done it 20 to 30 years already know how to get to places on time. But one thing you can't guarantee in Dallas is traffic. So as a professional, I get there a few hours early, even if I have to play on my phone or whatever, because if I'm a minute late, which I've only,
And if you've seen this guy drive, geez,
oh, oh, bad Scott, bad Scott.
golly, he's like the blinker's going, but he ain't moving.
So sometimes you got to know what you're good at. So if you are not good at driving and everything, so start out early. That's a good tip, because it's your reputation when you're late, especially for us, for our people. We sell the hour. And like we sell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, but we're not selling a whole day usually. We're just selling a few hours. If you if you only got a 2 hour gig and you're 15 minutes late, you've already, I mean, if you can't, and here's what I think, if you can't guarantee the people, if you can't guarantee the people you put out, don't put them out. Oh, Scott, calm down.
All right, so I think that's pretty much a wrap for today.
Okay. Take it easy out there and
Yeah, get there early.
get there early. That's that and be ethical.